Let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Joey Luka, who writes, "Hey, John, and welcome back, Rob. There are rumors floating around that a new Joker will be introduced to Matt Reeves' Batman trilogy. As of now, this is just talk, but it could very much happen. Hypothetically, who would be your top candidates to play the part? We don't do which X actor should play X role questions. Who would be your top candidate to play the part, and which movie should they introduce them? Thanks, and have a great day." All right. Thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And this one is interesting. There is a report going around right now that comes from a website that admittedly I have never heard of before. That doesn't mean it's not great. I'm just saying I've never heard of it before. There's a website called The Direct, which I had never heard of before. I went and checked it out. I didn't see any comments on any of their posts, and they don't have much of a social media presence, but they are a site. It's a good looking site, by the way, too. It's actually kudos to whoever designed it. It's a nice looking site. But they put out a story that they claim is an exclusive, and this is basically what they've got. According to our contributing insider, Daniel Reichman, Matt Reeves is planning to introduce a new Joker into his Batman trilogy. Reeves is planning for the Joker to appear in the second and third movies as one of the film's multiple villains. This new Joker will be referenced in 2021's The Batman, and casting for the role has not yet begun. All right, so that's what's being said there. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on this and why I have the thoughts that I have. Rob, you and I spoke about this months ago. About, somebody once brought up the question on the show, hey, do you think they'll ever bring in the Joker into new Batman movies? To which we said at the time, well, of course they are. At some point, they're gonna, it's the Joker. It's Batman. It's the Joker. At some point, there's going to be a Joker in there. Everybody knows that, and we talked about that on the show. So at some point, of course, we all know that Joker is going to be, if they continue to do Batman films, Joker will be there at some point. That's a no-brainer. We all know that. That's not up for discussion. That's not up for debate. We all know that. That's irrefutable at this point. So, to me, there's a little bit of spaghetti against the wall. There's a little bit of a scent of spaghetti against the wall here, which is saying, I remember like websites running, Mjolnir will be in Thor Ragnarok. It's like, well, of course Mjolnir is going to be in Thor Ragnarok. No one ever doubted for a second that Mjolnir was going to be in Thor Ragnarok. Of course, and I remember we talked about the show. Then this is before the trailer, but there was literally a report. Mjolnir exclusive. Mjolnir is going to be in Thor Ragnarok. Well, of course he is. Or of course it is. So anyway, we talked about that. It feels a little bit like saying something obvious and then whatever. But it also reminds me of this. It reminds me of this situation. Rob, I remember a couple of years ago, when it was before Christopher Nolan had even agreed to do the third Dark Knight film. He had done Batman Begins. He had done The Dark Knight, but he hadn't yet done Dark Knight Rises, hadn't written it, hadn't done anything. And I remember the big story going around is that Riddler and Penguin were going to be the key villains of the third film. And that was going around, and everybody reported that and all that kind of stuff. And I remember saying, but Christopher Nolan hasn't written the third film yet. He hasn't even written the third film yet. He hasn't even officially signed on to do a third film yet. So, I mean, but it was just accepted at the time. Oh yeah. Now we know that Penguin, it was just the report going around. And I think it's important to note that, Matt Reeves hasn't written a second Batman film yet. He hasn't written a third Batman film yet. That doesn't mean Joker won't be there. I assume he will be. So, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit this story because I completely believe I've always believed there's a very valid chance that we're going to see Joker in a second or third Batman film, if a second or third Matt Reeves Batman film even happens. But I don't know how much validity we give this right now until we see it on Deadline or The Hollywood Reporter or Variety. Again, it's always dangerous to start running with stories from sites that you've never heard of. Not that they're never right. They can be. They absolutely can be. But it's not really worth discussing too much until it comes out on one of the major trades. But Again, it just seemed to me like one of the obvious things. We've all been saying there's probably going to be a Joker in the next couple of ones. This could be true. It might not be. Rob, I guess the question then comes in, should they bring Joker in? Like, some might make an argument that, we've had so much Joker. Between Joker being in the Harley Quinn show, between Joker being in Suicide Squad, between the fact that we just had Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, there's so much Joker, but the Joker is money. The Joker's money. So I don't know. I do think we're going to see Joker later on, not because of this story though. And I think it's a good idea for them at some point because they're the yin and the yang. The Batman and the Joker are the yin and the yang. So yeah, I'm all for it and I think it'll happen. Rob, you hear about this. What's your reaction to it?
Well, like you pointed out, I mean, it'd be nice if they could finish the first Batman movie before they start talking about who's going to be in the second, because they don't know. But of course, John, you can't. The Joker is going to be an obvious choice. Maybe he'll show up in the third movie. But if you're going to make a trilogy of Batman films, it's probably a good bet we'll see a new version of the Joker in some way, shape, or form. I think that's pretty much a guarantee. Like you said, it's Batman and the Joker are yin and yang. They're two sides of two faces coin. You have to have them together at some point. And I think what's really interesting is it's not just having the Joker as a villain. It's also having another actor playing opposite your lead. So one of the great things I think about Christopher Nolan's Batman is watching Christian Bale acting in a movie with Heath Ledger and seeing the dynamic those two actors brought to the movie. And I think, after watching that Tenet trailer and seeing Robert Pattinson's performance, especially at that end tag when, we have to crash a plane into a building and nothing so dramatic. Looking at that, I'm like, I want to see more of that guy. And it just excites me that his Batman is being teed up in Tenet. And I'm like, that character, I don't know. I'm just really excited about Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I think that imagine who they might cast to play opposite him and that dynamic. That's what excites me is I want to see, the takes we've had on screen of the Joker have all been interesting and dynamic. So if it keeps it in that tradition, I think whoever plays the Joker, whenever they play it, it's going to be one heck of a fun time at the movies. Let me tell you.
All right, so the question here for you guys is simply this. What do you think of this story? Do you think there's any credibility to it? Do you think they'll never go back to the Joker? Did you always assume they go to the Joker? Is it a good idea to go back to the Joker? A lot of questions here, a lot of different angles to this. Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.